Good morning, Faith Bible family, and welcome to week 5 of our Psalms on the Porch series. Thanks for joining me as we continue our journey through this hymn book of ancient Israel. The people of Israel would use the Psalms as an expression of their worship in a lot of different ways. And we're moving into a section of the Psalms today that begins in 120 and goes to 134. It's 15 Psalms that are together called the Songs of Ascents, or in the Message, the Pilgrim Songs. They were songs that were sung by the people of Israel when they went up to Jerusalem for the religious festivals. They are prayers of praise and joy about Jerusalem and about the temple, and especially about the God who lived there. If you keep this context in mind of a journey as you read them, you will notice that it makes sense of a lot of the imagery that you find in these psalms. So we're in Psalm 121 today, so let's read it together. I look up to the mountains. Does my strength come from mountains? No, my strength comes from God, who made heaven and earth and mountains. He won't let you stumble. Your guardian God won't fall asleep. Not on your life. Israel's guardian will never doze or sleep. God is your guardian, right at your side to protect you, shielding you from sunstroke, sheltering you from moonstroke. God guards you from every evil. He guards your very life. He guards you when you leave and when you return. He guards you now, He guards you always. One of the unusual cultural markers in the Bible is that the biblical authors always seem to talk about going up to Jerusalem. And when we talk about going up somewhere, we usually mean it directionally. We are culturally conditioned by maps that all of us now carry digitally in our pockets. So I would say that I'm going up to Jacksonville, but I would say that I'm going down to Orlando. So we mean north when we say going up, and we mean south when we say going down. But the biblical authors didn't think about it that way. They thought about going up and down in terms of topography. They said going up to Jerusalem because when you're going to the city, you're usually going uphill into the Judean mountains. That begins to make sense then of the imagery in the first verse of this Psalms. I look to the mountains. Does my strength come from mountains? Because of the topographical position of Jerusalem and the fact that God's temple was there, some of the nations around Israel in those days assumed that God was a mountain God only. And we read an example of that in 1 Kings chapter 20, verses 23 through 28. They assumed that he had no power in the valleys because he lives in the mountains. And so the pilgrim going on his way to Jerusalem is looking at the hills that are around him and singing, "Does my help come from the mountains? No, my strength comes from the one who made the mountains and the heavens and the earth and everything else." His strength is not limited to geography. This also makes sense of verses 5 and 6. Most of us don't need to be protected from the sun except by like sunscreen or something, and we aren't really afraid of the moon at all. But to the people in the ancient world outside Israel, these were gods. But to the pilgrim, they were the true God's subjects, created things that held no fear for him because the true God was his guardian. In a world today that has its own fears and its own idols feeding on those fears, we need this same assurance that our God has not given up his control. He has not gone to sleep. No, he guards us now and he guards us always. God bless you this week. I'll see you Sunday at 10:15 for the live stream.